are in Mark 9 this week. This is a quick one, but here's from Mark 9, starting in verse 33. And they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you discussing on the way?" But they kept silent, for on the way they had argued with one another about who was greatest. And he sat down and called the 12. He said to them, If anyone would be first, he must be last of all, and servant of all. He took a child and put him in the midst of them, and taking him in his arms, he said to them, Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me. So we have this great moment here where the disciples are trying to, figure out who's going to be first in the kingdom of heaven. And what's interesting is this is right after Jesus talks about how he's going to have to suffer and die. And they're arguing about who's going to be greatest. And he quickly looks at them. He knows what's going on, and embarrassed, they won't answer when he says, "What were you talking about?" And so then when they finally admit what they're talking about out of shame, he says, "Listen, if you're going to follow me, the first will be last. You must be a servant of all." Then he pulls a child up and says, "Listen, if you want to be a part of my kingdom, you need to be like this child. You need to receive a child in my name." And how often do we push kids to the side? They're not as important. They're not doing as big things as adults along the way. But here we get this moment, and Jesus, he looks at his disciples and he says, "Receive like a child. Receive this child, and if you receive them, you receive me and him who sent me." So as we slow down, as we get into the church season of Lent, a time to slow down and reflect. Let us slow down and reflect that when Jesus comes, he doesn't come to lord over his kingdom, to force other people to be servants to him. Instead, he comes as the servant king to serve all. And he reminds us, the first will be last, servant of all, that we receive even children, because this is the kingdom of heaven.